Hi everyone, and welcome to ChilliPhilli Plays Games. Today's hour of play is dedicated to The Darkest Dungeon.
Ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity. Until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
So I'd just like to say that's a really epic opening to what promises to be a very good game. I haven't played this game before, so this means I'm completely new to the system. Hopefully we shouldn't die too many times. This is a roguelike, so death is inevitable. But hopefully we'll survive for the time being. I'm going on easy just because obviously it's the recommended difficulty for playing for the first time. If we come back to this game at a later stage in time, I might try Darkest, but at the moment I think easy is where it's at. Please humor me in what I name my save files. It's not often that you get to call something the Darkest Timeline and then the Darkest Dungeon. Also, I'd just like to say the art is absolutely gorgeous for this game.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places.
Also, I really can't get enough of this narrator's voice. He just puts so much soul and pain into his narration. It's fantastic. This sort of mix between an almost 3D style and a 2D style form of art is very, I don't know, fresh, I guess?
The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Alright, so if I remember correctly, this loading scene does take a little while. Which is interesting given that it's not a game that's particularly like graphic intensive. The maps aren't massive. But I mean, it's a minor quibble. Possibly because I'm trying to run the game on the highest settings, but it shouldn't really be an issue for this kind of game. You'll see that I move my mouse around to try and figure out if there's something I'm doing wrong to not trigger the next screen. But yeah, the old road is basically the little tutorial level to show people, how do you play, how do you get into this game, what are the various controls, etc. and so forth. So it's nice to have a tutorial level. Almost immediately, well, first of all, we get some control advice. The controls are very explicitly given to you, which is nice. So it makes sense.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
The narrator almost always has something helpful to say, or if not helpful, lends to the mood of the piece.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
So it gives you quite detailed information on how to do pretty much everything in the game. You're not explicitly told like what all the numbers mean. I still haven't quite figured out what the various what everything and every ability does. But the basics are pretty basic, I guess.
A death by inches.
Interestingly, I forgot to switch the marching order, which you can do quite easily. You'll see the sort of arrows beneath the person who's marching in front at the moment, whose name I cannot remember.
Leave nothing unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
Yeah, there's a lot of interactable sort of, not items, but points in the environment. Usually they give you treasure or resources, or those are the main things: treasure and resources.
That all may hear of your arrival.
Okay, cool. So my marching order is being reset so that my guy with ranged attacks is at the back, which is much more sensible. I can tell you now that I didn't actually die in the tutorial, but I would have been interested to see what would happen if I had. The sort of partial animation is really interesting, like style-wise. They've all got their very slight idling animations, just bobbing up and down. It's enough motion to kind of make you feel like, like action is about to happen. Let's see, what do I do here? I would have assumed I would have done grape shot. There we go, grape shot. There we go. I don't think the tutorial is intended to kill you, though it would be kind of funny if it did. I suppose at the higher difficulty levels, there is a chance that you would die in your tutorial. Or they might not give you the tutorial at all to start with. I don't know. When I replay this game, as I inevitably will, I might find out whether that's the case or not. Yeah, these guys are not too difficult to beat up. Well, that's not true. Guy in front has a lot of hit points, but relatively relatively easy to beat up.
Monstrous size has no intrinsic merit, unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
So, something I find really cool is this idea by which when you kill an enemy and you don't kill them by a critical, they leave a corpse behind. And corpses make it harder to hit people. Not for ranged characters, of course, but for our melee characters, it's much harder to hit someone who's behind a pile of bones and flesh. Which makes sense, right? Alright, now the guy with the gun's actually starting to hurt us. So we will return fire. And hopefully kill him in one shot. If we're lucky. There we go.
Destroy them all.
Alright. So, we've officially finished this quest. Which means we can head back to the... Well, not back. Head on to the town center. Town center kind of makes it sound like a Poke Center. Which I can assure you that it is most definitely not a Poke Center. I wanted to see what was in the trap. It was quite obviously a trap chest. But I figured since we were at the end of the level, I would try and open it anyway. Just shuffling around. Okay, so at this point I hadn't figured out how to switch between characters. So, there we go. Switch. And then move. Move position. Well, almost got it, I think. No, it's... Unsurprisingly, it was trapped. But we get to go to the town square kind of thing. I don't think it's called the town square, but I am going to call it town square until I get told otherwise. So eventually I'll figure out that I need to press the icon in the top left-hand corner of the screen. But before then, I am still affected by blight. I try to move back to the previous area. So you can see that our rogue, swashbuckler, whatever you want to call him, is taking repeating bleeding damage. So this just takes us back to where we were to start with. So hopefully I realize pretty soon the icon, where we need to go, is in the top left. Here we go. Excellent, progress is made. Get some treasure for completing the quest. Would have gotten some quirks. No, did get some quirks. Good. And then we return to town. So it is town. It's just the town center, right? Right. It's definitely the town center. I just don't want to call it that. Loading screen, again, I love the art
Welcome
so
home,
much.
Such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
I could listen to that guy narrate for like hours. It's just such a deeply sorrowful, yet moving voice. Yeah, so this is kind of like your journal, I suppose. Everything marked with a red icon is something new to look at, new to explore. So not everything is unlocked for you straight away, which is cool, you know. It kind of eases you into the game rather than making you kind of jump in headfirst straight away. Alright, so personally I found most important was the stagecoach. Because in the stagecoach you get to
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools.
you get to recruit people. And the more people you have, the easier it is to make your way through quests. Because believe you me, 2 people to start with is not nearly
A
enough.
sister of battle, pious and unrelenting. What
Yeah,
better
so this
love
fills
than the
it
blood-soaked
up to your
battlefield?
required, well not required, your maximum of 4 people to a party, which is quite cool. And the various different characters. So we've got the knight, the rogue, the cleric, I guess, and the plague doctor. They all have their various different quirks and abilities, which is fun.
Ambition is stirring in distant cities. We can use this.
So I wasn't really sure what to upgrade to start with, but it seemed like the stagecoach was a good idea. Of course, by the time I upgraded it, I had no ability to upgrade other things. But still, I stand by my decision.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
Alrighty. So I think we've looked at just about everything of immediate
Trinkets and
interest.
charms,
Apart
gathered
from the
all
trinkets and
forgotten
charms, yes.
corners of the earth.
Thanks for pointing that out to me.
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
I haven't actually looked into what the graveyard does. And I won't look at it in the remainder of this video, unfortunately. But for the time being, what we're going to do is we're going to embark on our next quest.
A mecca of madness and morbidity. Your work begins.
So, we have 4 party members, 2 of whom are already equipped, as you can see down in the bottom center. And we're going to look at doing that first quest. I don't know whether they're actually called quests. I feel like jobs is more accurate. Makes it seem more dirty. Dirty job. But yes, shows the rewards, shows you what sort of things you have to do during the quest. It's good. Like, it gives you a good idea of what you should be expecting, and that becomes a lot more relevant as time goes on. When I mean time goes on, I mean in future quests, because this one is still more or less in the tutorial stage. I have no idea what I'm clicking on. I need to click on the button marked provision. Yes, that's very good, Chili. Just take your time. Take your time. All right, here we go. Getting into
Cost
it.
of preparedness, measured now in gold, later in blood.
So, most important tools you need: food. Well, not tools. Equipment, inventory, whatever you want to call it. Food and torches. Food heals your party, as well as keeps them from being starving, so that's great. And then you've got your torches to keep things light, because when it gets dark and progressively darker, the enemies get more difficult to defeat. There's also other equipment like shovels. Shovels get rid of stuff, gets rid of blockages easily, so you don't have to spend time getting rid of it all. So that's always nice. Again, the artwork is just absolutely beautiful. Really captures the look that they were going for. Alright. So this is the first proper dungeon, I guess. Or the first dungeon of the Darkest Dungeon. So yeah, you can quite obviously see interactable objects, which is nice. But they don't sort of detract from the environment around them, which is also nice. I seem to be stepping by very, very slowly. Alright, here we go. And we have some skeletons for the first time. So these guys aren't too tricky to deal with, especially when you've got 2 against a party of 4. Plague Doctor's going first, so he'll use one of his, it's not called Venom, Blight abilities, I guess? So basically, Blight abilities are cool because their initial hit doesn't do a lot of damage, but when it comes to their turn, they take, I guess, poison damage. That is quite significant and can potentially kill them before they get a chance to act. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out what she can actually do to be helpful. So our cleric friend... I think she's probably going to switch places with our rogue friend, if I'm correct. If she can figure out how to do it. Or rather, if I can figure out how to do it. Let's see. Okay, so we've got some healing skills that we can do. And I think that first one is an attack ability, but I'm not sure. So at the moment, she does seem to be considering... Why am I blaming on her? I do seem to be considering moving her around. If I could figure out how to do it. There we go. Moving her around does, however, take her entire turn, unfortunately.
Another abomination cleansed from our lands.
Yeah, and that poison damage finished off the last enemy, which was nice.
A dizzying fall.
Alright, we've got a chest. Does it have anything nice in it? It does! We get treasure and a shovel.
Waiting to be spent.
Alright, so keep on moving, because that's the way this game works. You can zoom in and out on the map. Not sure whether I've figured that out at this point in time. But this keeps us moving in any case. So there's a bunch of junk. When you come to things like this, you can either clear it by hand or clear it by shovel. Shovel doesn't take up any of your resources apart from the shovel. Clearing it by hand takes up health and possibly another resource? I'm not actually sure. Haha, now we get told about the torch. So yeah, I've been telling you things in advance, but this game times things really well in terms of being able to tell you, okay, you know, contextually appropriate cues. Quite similar to Portal in that respect, I guess. I use that torch, but it has no immediate effect on this combat, unfortunately. Alright, I imagine I am going to use the poison bomb on one of these guys. If I can... Oh, no. It can only target the furthest. Alright, so that must be stress, I guess. The weird semicircular icon that appears above their head. Also, I love the attack names. Graveyard Slash, Bump in the Night. Just classic. Alright. Let's get some Templar action up in here. So he is able to
As the fiend falls,
smite, so to speak.
hope blossoms.
Okay. I think... yep. Okay, so that he will be blighted now. Which means he will take that extra damage on his turn.
Their formation is broken. Maintain
Nice.
the offensive.
Good work, Swashbuckler. I really should learn their names. You can actually rename them to whatever you want. But I did not, because I assumed that I would come across with immature names.
Great is the weapon
So-
that cuts on its own.
Ooh, extra torch. Very nice. So, this is the point where I realize you cannot heal outside of battle unless you have food. Or unless you make a campfire. But this particular quest does not give you wood for a campfire. All of that is soon to come. You know, now would be a perfect time to light another torch. Let's see if we realize that. We do! Excellent. We can see the light. For the time being, anyway.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
I do like the fact that it is very random as to whether you get good stuff or bad stuff. You know, I mean, that's fairly standard for roguelikes, but you know, it's just a nice touch here. Alright. Light probably wasn't as light as it could have been, which is why we were facing these more difficult enemies. But I think we've got it under control for the time being. So let's have a look. Now we get the chance to heal, which is nice. Nothing quite like a good healing.
How quickly the tide turns.
But that crossbow bolt was very unpleasant. So hopefully I have a response to that.
Be gone, fiend.
Not that response, but... Alright, so crossbow boltman is now closer to hit, which is great. So all we have to do is smack him a couple more times. Alright, so he is blighted now, so when it comes to his turn, he doesn't quite die, which is unfortunate. Alright, of all the attack names, Bayonet Jab is probably the least inventive, but, you know, gotta give him credit where credit's due. Alright, I hope that I've got another healing on my hands, possibly? Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, Rogie Boy is not as healthy as he could be,
Continue the onslaught.
but
Destroy
you do what you can.
all.
There's a fountain here, which is interactable. I believe it gives you back health. Yeah, really should have kept that for the rogue, but unfortunately, I did not. On the other hand, it could have been poison, so, you know, mixed blessings, I suppose. Alright. What I am a little bit irked by the fact you can't drag the map around. You have to actually zoom in, zoom out. It's not like a Google Maps. But, you know, it's a relatively small thing. I should light a torch again. Probably another torch would have been great, but... Oh, I see a trap. I think this is the first trap we've come across in this run, so let's see what happens. Yes, and I find out that I can't use bandages to just heal wounds. Specifically for bleeding, unfortunately. So back up, I move Rogie Boy to the front. Press W? Or try to press W? I think I tried just clicking on it to see if I could interact with it. But that didn't work. So the reason why that menu keeps popping up is because I press H, which is for help.
Mechanical hazards possessed by evil intent.
At this point in time, I really should have shuffled the marching order. Let's see if I do. Come on. Come on, buddy. There we go. Now the marching order is back the way it should be. We can continue going. Probably should light a torch. Alright, and another combat, maybe. No. Big ol' nothing. And also moonwalking, for some reason. And another trap. Alright, we try and do the trap again. Let's see if it works this time, or whether someone else gets good. So, we'll put the rogue first. Try and figure out which button it is to interact with this thing. Honestly, I should have been paying more attention to the tutorial when it had the first trap. But there we go. Someone got impaled.
Such missteps are the exception, and not the rule.
Alrighty, but once we rearrange ourselves, we are ready to move on. Luckily, there is only... How many rooms left to this place? 2 rooms? 1 room. There's not many rooms left to this dungeon, which is the important thing. Light is getting low. I really need to light a torch. Ah, yes. Here is where I figure out that food heals you. And I start eating a bunch of it. Alrighty, moving on. It's not an overwhelmingly bad combination of enemies. Like, You got what, 3 melee primarily melee attackers. So we can grape shot them, which is nice. Gives them good old debuff. Hopefully no bleeding damage. Okay, so we're going to attack for once with our cleric friend. And then the doctor, the plague doctor. Don't do it on him. God damn it. Why you do this, past Chili? Alrighty. Our paladin slash crusader comes in for the kill, hopefully. Hopefully. God damn it. Should have used your sword. Graveyard slash, graveyard bash. Alrighty. Brave shot again. Hit you. There we go.
Give them no quarter.
Interestingly, that was a crit, but the first guy's body is still there. Ah well, I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, we've got 2 enemies left. Health is looking pretty good. Getting pushed back by one of their attacks was not great for the Crusader, because he needs to be close to hit things and people. Honestly, the cleric should have spent her time healing, given the rogue's current health position, but that is okay. That is alright. We can still recover from this. Alright. Hopefully the poison damage on that attack from the Witch Doctor should be enough to finish that enemy off.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Ooh, that was a lot of damage. I don't know why the cleric can't use any healing at the moment. Seems weird and bizarre. I mean, I'm not going to question it, but
a victory nonetheless.
Heirloom chest. Trapped. Oh, god damn it. Thankfully, Blight can be dealt with Venom. Ah, not Venom. Blight can be dealt with anti-Venom. So there's no problems there. We've got money, we've got some various items. I wonder whether there's some way to increase your inventory. I feel like there should be. Or we just haven't been told about it yet. Okay. So I think there's just one more room we haven't explored. Ooh, loot. What do we got? At this point, we should be very close to finishing this dungeon. Can't be too much left. And there is a maximum number of food that you can eat, unfortunately. Very much like old... Come on, light torch, man. Possibly 2. Very much like old school roguelikes, like NetHack, where you had to be really careful about what you were eating, when you were eating, and how much. This just has a cap, so you won't be penalized for eating food. It's just that it draws on your resources. I think we're almost at the point where we're going to be forced to stop and eat food. Because we've been going the long way around, so to speak. Alright. Again, just take the time to enjoy the artwork and the art style. It's perfect for this kind of game. You know, it's... I want to say grungy. It really gives you that sort of dark fantasy vibe. Here we go. Here's a hunger prompt. So you have the choice of either eating food or taking stress from not eating. Oh, and damage. And damage. Jesus. Whew, that's harsh. Thankfully for our friends here, we have plenty, well, had plenty of food. Alright, and this... Oh, not even a combat. This is just the end of the dungeon. Awesome. Very cool. And there is nothing in this room, so we should, hopefully, in a moment, realize that we just need to head back to the town. Alright, we finished a quest. And we didn't die, surprisingly. So that was a nice bonus. Our various party members get some... what are they called? I think they're called quirks. Mental quirks. Not that I'm taking too much notice of them right now, because we haven't had the sanitarium made available to us. The sanitarium is where you get the chance to...
are pitched, banners fly, and the corpse wagons stand
sanitarium
up
is where you get the chance to
The circus
modify
has come to
your...
town.
modify the quirks that your party members have. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I get really irked by when games introduce DLC to you with a really cool sort of spin to it, and you feel like you're about to be invested in a really cool quest. And then they bring up, like, you know, buy this DLC on the store.
Fresh kegs, cards, and curtained rooms promise solace
I mean, that's not a
to the
bad
weary and
thing,
broken
because they
alike.
do have to make money. But I really wish that it wasn't that you bought the DLC, like, outside of your game. Alright, so going to the tavern, basically this is where you can... de-stress. Stagecoach gives you the chance to get more heroes. As far as I'm concerned, at the moment, the more heroes I have more heroes I have, the better, because it gives me a chance to give my other heroes rest time for stress time.
Lawman and his faithful beast, a bond forged by battle and bloodshed.
I also really wanted to try out the different sort of skill trees that these characters have.
The cobwebs have been dusted, the pews set straight. The abbey calls to the faithful.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the abbey and the tavern. They're very kind of well flavored. As is the rest of the town centre. Don't get me wrong. Just quickly looking at what kind of upgrades we can do, because obviously making de-stressing cheaper is nice. Not that we can do that all
With
the
enough
time.
ale, maybe they can be inured against the horrors below.
Alright, I think that's pretty much all the resources I have for upgrading, unfortunately. Guild helps you train your characters in their different skills. Ooh, shiny, but expensive shiny. I still haven't figured out at this point how to equip my guys and girls with what are they called? Not artifacts. I can't remember what they're called. It'll come to me later. Anyway, most important thing is we are de-stressing some of our party members who have been having a hard time on it. So you'll notice that because of some of the psychology quirks, for example, the Crusader has to has no choice as to what he can do for de-stressing, whereas the Sister of Battle, hey Warhammer reference, can do any of the religious de-stressing activities. Alrighty, so at this point in time I think we've done everything we can, even though we haven't investigated the blacksmith or the guild hall. Yeah, Butcher's Circus, like, sounds like fun, but extra DLC that I probably do not need. Not immediately anyway. There's so much main game to get through. So now we've got a choice of quests. Different types of quests will yield different types of rewards. Some of them require you to kill things. Some of them require you to explore the dungeon. As you continue on, you'll learn that certain party builds are better for certain instances. So I might go a little bit overboard with my purchases, just because at this point in time I don't realize how much things cost. So here I think we've got a decent selection of stuff. I've never actually come to a point where I can use the skeleton key? Master key, I'm not sure. Skeleton key. We'll call it a skeleton key. Regardless. Yes. So this is our first non-tutorial dungeon. So that may mean that it's a little bit more difficult, but I'm sure we can get through as we travel together.
Back. And what better place to begin than the seat of our noble line?
All right. So we take a quick look at the people we have available to us. So we've now got like a Houndmaster. I think the lovely young lady we were looking at just before was a barbarian of some sort. Looks like a barbarian. We've got a Master at Arms, which is cool. Definitely looking forward to training these guys in some different skills. Should be good. Barbarian first, because everyone knows that barbarians are the front line. Alright, alchemy table. Does it explode? It does explode. Hooray. Luckily, I have anti-venom. I love the little green heart changing to a healthy heart. That's very very on point. Great shot from our Rogie boy. Nice. Pretty fast though. Surprisingly fast. Okay, yep. Standard swing. Go for the guy in the middle. Come on. You know you want to. No! God damn it. Ah, on the bright side, the pile of bones was destroyed. Now that's what I'm looking for. He does not go bump in the night, which is nice. We're still looking pretty healthy, which is good.
Be gone, fiend.
Alright, and then the last one is our Houndmaster. Doggy. Oh, so close to finishing him off. He's just within the range of her halberd / great axe. I think it's a halberd.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
And we got loot, which is nice. Alright, and we keep moving through the... I think I just accidentally went backwards. Did I go backwards? No, I didn't. Hooray! On to new things. I think I need a new torch pretty... Ooh.
Watch your step.
I think I need a new torch pretty soon. I don't know whether I'll remember to light it or not. Come on. Oh no. Next battle will be tough. Yeah. So when you get surprised, sometimes it shuffles around your party. What's the word? Marching order. Which can be quite unpleasant. So there's, at this point in time, there's nothing that the Houndmaster can do apart from change positions. Hopefully our Barbarian will get an Iron Swan off, maybe? Or just a hack. Alright. Ouch. That's not fun. We are not doing well in this combat. On the bright side, we've got a little bit of defense going for us. Okay. Not ideal, but we can still win this, I'm pretty sure. Having the man-at-arms in the back is not the best position for him. So I think we're going to move him one step forward. And hopefully that'll be close enough to hit. The Houndmaster can now do something useful, which is nice.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Crossbow is not fun. He's not. Iron Swan should be able to hit something from behind, hopefully. Or we can go for a pack. That was not the best. But on the bright side, that attack missed. God damn it, Barbarian Lady. Why is your accuracy so poor? Alright. Alrighty, so no, it's not the worst combat. Definitely not the best, but we could be in a much worse position at the moment. I think I could actually use his bash attack, but I'm just choosing not to, which is kind of dumb. Yeah, there we go. Now he's a bit closer, he should be able to smack those. I think I'm gonna try and take out one of the scrubs first.
Executed with impunity.
And now we should be able to hit the guy at the back with the goblet a little bit more easily. Ooh, rough days for our barbarian friend. I just really like watching the idling animations. And also the backgrounds, like, there's been a lot of thought put into those backgrounds.
Maintain the offensive.
Yeah. At this point in time, like, we've taken a lot of damage. Definitely best just to go straight home
Return to rest.
and not worry about
Remanded to their abyss.
trying to get any more out of this situation. Alright, and that is our first quest complete. I think we can feel pretty proud of ourselves. Yeah, so that was good. I feel like that was some good progress. And we can return home to the town.
Can you feel it? The walls between the sane world and that unplumbed dimension of delirium are tenuously thin here.
So I think from that you get the general vague idea of what this game's about. We'll still be able to hire some more and different party members. So it's nice in that respect that it keeps things somewhat fresh. And I have by no means finished or even scratched the surface of this game. I feel like there's definitely a lot more to be played here.
We will face ever greater threats. Our soldiers must be ready.
Alright, so taking a quick look at what we can train into. Some things do require a little bit more resource investment into each of the buildings. So the guild unfortunately does not have anything for cheap, as you can imagine, because skills are a very important resource, and certainly not one to be taken cheaply.
The bellows blast once again. The forge stands ready to make weapons of war.
Similarly, the blacksmith does not have the cheapest options available to you. I'm pretty happy that we've got 7 party members available to us, though. Feels like that's enough to possibly be possibly support us for the next little while without needing to hire anyone else. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a look through all the different skills and trying to figure out which ones are which ones are which and what they all do. There's a lot of information on these pages. If I have any complaint about this game, it's just that there is so much information to take in, and especially the abilities, you don't quite get told what they all mean. But like a lot of roguelike games, a lot of this is all trial and error. So by the time you've played through your 100th or 200th dungeon, you're going to have a lot better understanding of how all this stuff fits together. So yeah, this will probably be. I mean, I would love to touch again on Darkest Dungeon in future episodes, but this is probably all you need to get a really good idea of what it's about. So I'm just popping people into stress recovery now. Our rogue boy has to go into the brothel because of one of his psychologies. Yeah, I think it's a really fun game, and I'll definitely be playing more of it. Yeah, tell me what you think. If this is a roguelike, I would say that it's probably a good game. If you like roguelikes, rather, this is probably a good game for you. You'll find that there are many and varied things that will keep you constantly interested. It's not just... I mean, yes, in some ways it is the same gameplay repeated over and over, but it's with enough changes and flair to make it feel like something different. Alrighty. This is me setting off on my next and possibly fatal quest. But I will leave this hour of play here. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do try and pick up the game yourself. Give it a try. Be interested to hear what you guys have to think about it. And yeah, this is the Darkest Dungeon. Thank you for joining me for another hour of play. If you enjoyed this content, please do check out an hour of play for Portal 2, as well as my other hour of play videos. All of this content can be found on my channel through the links to the right hand side. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.